Hello, everybody. This is Quarantine Catechesis. I'm Father Joe Krupp, and you are not. If you are like me, God help you. But if you are like me, you're looking behind me and saying, are you in heaven? Yes, in a sense, I'm as close to it as we can get in Grand Blanc, Michigan. I am at DaEdoardo's. I always say that wrong. And if you're ever in a position where you want to spoil someone you love rotten with an awesome meal, this is where Jesus wants you to go. I don't want to say the food here is amazing, but actually angels have been spotted in the kitchen taking notes as they cook. Yeah, and so remember that name, DaEdoardo's, right here in Grand Blanc, Michigan, across from the movie theater. That's how I describe it because I love movies. And it's totally worth your time. Look behind me, right? Look it, behold. And they open back up to the public on Monday. Do you know this? Yeah, so you can not only support the local economy and spoil someone you love immensely, you can also get a great meal, all at the same time. So, Helene, I just saw you checked in from Kansas. It's worth the drive. Yeah. In fact, tell you what, how about this? Helene, if you drive here from Kansas on Monday, I'm paying for your meal with Kevin's credit card.
What about Demetrius from
La Mesa, California. If you fly out here to have a meal any day next week, Kevin Nugent is honored to pay for it. So that's where we are, DaEdoardo's. Make sure and check it out if you're ever in Grand Blanc. And again, and a great, please let me know. Oh, now there's my sister-in-law, Pauline. She took me here, her and my brother, my first night here in Grand Blanc. And guys, it's worth any time you've got. This is a wonderful place. So hello to everyone and welcome. A couple things as we get started. First of all, please remember if you can to get the word out, right? Like these, share these, and help me pay Kevin his exorbitant salary. So I've been I've been asked why. I see that, Father, you look great in red. That's because I'm very pretty. Okay, that's a big part of it. Every year I get a letter from Red thanking me. The color red and Black Rifle Coffee send me letters every year thanking me for putting children through college. But so what is this? This is the DaEdoardo's. I have trouble saying this. Shirt. Look at it. DaEdoardo's. Look at it. Look at it. And then check this awesome place out.
And they have other locations.
What's that?
They have other locations.
They have other locations. Oh my gosh, are you guys ready? Seriously, in case you don't live near Grand Blanc, here's some spots you can go. La Lanterna in Detroit. DaEdoardo, I said it right, in Grand Blanc. Cafe Nini in Grosse Pointe. Those are all family-owned, guys. You can support the local economy. And again, I'm not getting any, what do you say, recompense. I'm saying this because it's true. This is a great place. Make sure and check it out. DaEdoardo's in Grosse Pointe and in Grand Blanc, La Lanterna in Detroit, and Cafe Nini in Grosse Pointe. I don't know. Okay, someone just said I look like Santa. I am deducting 4 Jesus points from your total score. Yeah, I think I'm too fat to be Santa. Seriously, like I was gonna try for it, and the reindeer pulled a muscle looking at me, right? I went to get in the sled, and the reindeer were like, easy, big fella. True story.
Their Santa's only 4'6".
Yeah. So anyway, here we are. What else was I going to tell you? It was red. I'm also wearing red because of Saint Boniface. And if any of you are Catholics of German extraction, know that it's probably because of Boniface that your family's Catholic. He was a guy who was born in England. He didn't mean it. It's not his fault. But after doing seminary in Italy, he was sent up to the Germanic tribes to try to convert them. This is the 9th century or 8th century. 8th century, okay? And he got there and really was effective. But the story that kind of tops them all is that they had a tree they worshipped, the pagan tribes did, and the big thing was if you touch the tree, the gods will kill you. So he cut it down and built a church with the wood. That's about the only way you can get through to a German, I think. Speaking as one. So it worked. And now there's a ton of Germans. Catholics. Until Luther. then we lost half our tribe. All right, so we're going to launch right into the questions and answers, I think. Are we? Yeah? Okay, are they already submitting questions?
Yes.
Yeah. First question. Would a female have been hung on a cross in the time of Jesus? Yeah. About the time of a guy, have you heard the name Pompey Magnus? He was a Roman general who was alive at the same time as Julius Caesar. And there was a great slave revolt led by a guy named Spartacus. And when I say great, I mean huge, not happy. And Spartacus and a guy named, what's his name? Crixus. Gosh, I can't believe I remember that. Plowed their way through Italy. And Rome didn't take it serious because they thought, well, quote, it's just a slave uprising. But Spartacus clearly had some military training and strategies. We don't know much about him at all. But in the end, Crixus took some of his army and split off from, what's his butt? Spartacus. And then Spartacus kind of shot down through Italy to the very, if you can see the map in your head, the little tip of the boot. And he paid some pirates, this is a true story, to try to get him over to, I always say Malta, Sicily, okay? The pirates, you know, being piratey, kept the money and bugged out. So now there's an army between Spartacus and freedom. And so they fought like mad, and they lost. And then Pompey Magnus came in to do the mop-up operation. On the road from there till Rome, he crucified every survivor, men, women, and children, okay? For thousands of slaves crucified all along that road, which you can actually walk on today, but the dead bodies are gone. And I think it's called the Appian Way, but don't quote me, okay? So did they crucify women? Non-Roman women could be crucified, okay? And the thing with crucifixion, it actually didn't kill you unless they broke your legs. That's how you breathe, just by using your legs to lift you up. And wow, we went right after it, didn't we? I was about to give you some detail that nobody needs, but Pompey did order that they die of exposure. Don't break their legs, right? And their whole idea was there will never be a slave revolt again, and there wasn't.
Did Spartacus look like Kirk Douglas?
Spartacus, actually, his full name was Spartacus Kirk Douglas. Johnson. His last name was Johnson. Yeah, true story. Don't look it up, just trust me. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know, that was too much detail, wasn't it?
No.
So yeah, would a female have been crucified in the time of Jesus? Absolutely, as long as she wasn't a Roman. Romans were not allowed by law to torture Romans. That's how St. Paul, by the way, got away with so much that he did because he was a Roman citizen, born in a city called Tarsus, which is right next to Grand Rapids. Okay. Why during biblical times did men take one wife but had many concubines? Because they could.
Makes sense.
That's awful to say, isn't it? No, the rules were different. And again, think of it this way. The whole idea of marriage back then had nothing to do with love. And again, in fact, you know what? Pompey Magnus again. Pompey Magnus was famous for being a great general and also having a huge ego. They actually gave him the name Magnus to make fun of him.
Really?
Yeah, truly. But his dad's name, I can't believe I remember this, ready? His dad's name was Pompey Strabo, which means Pompey the Cross-Eyed. Yeah, I think that's kind of a boy named Sue type thing, right? If your name is Pompey Cross-Eyed, you're gonna be tough. Yeah. Anyway, why am I telling you this? Because one of the things we know about Pompey, they all made fun of him for this. He loved his wife. They thought that was hysterical. Love in marriage was a bizarre concept to them. Marriage was a means to make kids, right? It's the way the wife got physical safety and the husband got progeny. And that's why divorce was so common and acceptable, because it wasn't about love or covenant. It was a business deal, okay? So particularly when you look at marriage, say, 500 years before Jesus and before that, oh yeah, you had powerful people with concubines, powerful men, frankly. Sorry, ladies. I don't know if they, yeah. Is an Episcopalian a less strict Catholic? Okay, there's no answer I can give to this. that isn't going to degrade into totally inappropriate humor, right? And I have dear friends who are Anglican priests who would join in with me on this humor, but I think I better be not that guy. So where did Anglicans come from? If you go to England, from the time that, what do you say, the outside world had contact with England, what you had was an island of very passionate religious people, okay? Deeply religious pagans, deeply religious Christians, the whole banana. Well, in England, you did have a lot of strife around theological arguments, and you do have a lot of points where everyone was trying to figure out the power of the state versus the power of the church. Okay? It was tough. It was a tough thing to figure out. And if you ever want to look at anything like in this regard, go to St. Augustine's book, City of God? Help me out, bro, would you? City of God by St. Augustine. I think I'm saying it right, but don't quote me, okay? My lovely research assistant is looking it up. Well, my research assistant. But anyway, what happened is King Henry VIII, who was having what we would today, I guess, gently call succession issues, got into a pattern of getting married, and if she couldn't produce a male heir, he would divorce or kill her and get a new one. And the whole issue around annulment led to a split. Was it City of God, bro? It is. The book's called City of God. And I don't know if you want to read it. It's pretty brutal. I have a hard time. I mean, I love Augustine. He's probably my favorite saint. But that one I find hard to read. But be this as it may, that was the result of a split. It wasn't a religious split, I don't think. I think that's fair to say. And if any of my Anglican friends are on here and want to help us out, let me know. But I think it's fair to say, just think of it as a, hey guys, how you doing? Good. As my probation officers are here. Isn't that great? They're checking the tether. Yeah. Just kidding. They're not my probation officers. They're Kevin's probation officers. But so the split wasn't theological. The split was actually about authority. And in the end, we've kind of gone two totally different directions in the last few years. Last, what, 20 years? I don't know. So that's the best I can do on that. And I hope you found it helpful. And if not, Kevin. Okay, regarding, what was Jesus doing when he was a kid? Why do we know nothing of his life before his ministry? This is going to sound awful, okay? And again, stick with me, okay? I know how we view kids, and it's lovely, okay? I do. That's new, historically. That's really new. Children were considered completely and totally unimportant. Okay, when Jesus talks in the scriptures about how you and I have to become like a little child, he's not talking about cuteness. He's talking about vulnerability, and he's talking about, in a sense, almost the disposableness. I don't know. Like, think of it this way. Wealthy Romans, for example, often didn't name their kid until they were 7 or 8, because so many children died before that age, okay? So, what was it, a 38% infant mortality rate in the time of Jesus? And in the end, if you have a child who's born, the chance of them getting to 16 was pretty low. It was about 50%, okay? Now, why did I go there? Sorry, hold on.
What was he doing?
So when we say, what was Jesus, why don't they tell us what he was doing? Because they didn't care. And again, I know that sounds terrible, but they just didn't care. And if you think about who the gospel writers were, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, they only knew Jesus as an adult. And the only one who knew Mary appears to have been John and Luke. So where would they get that information? From her. But again, remember, it wouldn't have been something they asked. I know that's weird to our American brains, and but it's just how it was. Children were utterly practical. They only existed to become adults. Isn't that weird? Yeah. If you want to read a book that talks a bit about this, what's her name? Edith something or other, and the name of the book is The Roman Way. And it gives you, there's a chapter in there about the raising of children and how people thought back then about kids. And again, it'll sound awful to us, and I'm sorry, but you're talking about a very violent time in human history, right? A very violent time.
Hamilton.
Say it.
Hamilton.
Edith Hamilton. Wow. I guess my research assistant wasn't paying attention. He's drunk. I'm just kidding. So I hope you find that helpful. And I know it's weird, but when we say, well, why don't we know what Jesus was doing? Because nobody cared. It just wasn't a part of their wheelhouse. John gives us, if you look at Gospel of John chapter 1, he starts before Jesus' infancy, doesn't touch his infancy, and goes right to adult, right? It says, John 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was in God's presence, and the Word was God. He was present to God in the beginning, and through him all things came into being, and apart from him nothing came to be. So what John is telling you is Jesus is eternal. That's all you need to know. That's how he sees it, okay? In the beginning. And when he says the word, he's using the Greek words logos, which, did we do Plato's Cave of Images? Not really. Oh, really? We should do that.
Yes.
Holy cow, he's quoting Plato. Yeah, all right. I think I'm going on a side topic. Okay, hi, Father Joe. Sorry to be late. Grandson born this morning. What the hey? Who is this? Edie was there. Oh my gosh, my sister helped you with your little squeaker. What a blessing.
Mary Lynn.
Gottler?
Mm-hmm.
Mary Lynn got, holy crap, woman. Way to go. I'm not going to call her a grandma because she looks like she's about 18. And I never know. But Matthias Boyd Stearns, way to go. Congratulations, we love you. And my sister Edie is a goddess. In case like you were going, is she a goddess? Yes, she is. That's just science. All right. Regarding the wealth of the Vatican, I am not questioning your statements about budgets. Rather, I would like to look at sources so that I could speak more intelligently. Oh, okay. So what you can do for the first time, I think it was John Paul II. But oh my gosh, my sister Kelly's here. Hey, Kelly. Sorry, I have to acknowledge Kelly. I love you, Kelly. Don't forget the $5 you owe me. Okay. I'm just kidding. It's 6. What were we talking about? Do you remember? Oh, yeah. You can look up. The budget's online. Look up the budget. Just type in Vatican budget 2000. What are we in?
19.
So try 18. Because again, this is an Italian church, so we're always just a little behind. Despite all that espresso. You know what I mean? You would think with espresso, it would be a whole country filled with people like just jacked up. And when I was in Rome, I've been to Rome a million times, and I just got IVs of espresso. I found that vein. Oh, yeah, Jojo likey. Yummy. So if you want, you can look it right up, but I'll make it 6. Okay, my sister's offering me $6 if I shave the beard. Woman, I don't want this thing anymore, I think. I don't know. It's work. It's like extra time where I'm not sleeping in the morning.
She can contribute online.
Yeah, we're going to have a fund, right, when the church is done.
It's set up online.
It's already set up?
It's set up, yeah, shave or save. Yeah.
Shave or save. Okay, so my whole thing with this beard. Okay, woman, I see you. I love her. I got great sisters. Brothers? No, I'm totally kidding. So here's the deal. When the church started construction, I said, I'm not shaving it till it's done, but it should be done by now. But you may not have heard, there was this thing called COVID. So look at this thing. I don't know whether to like wash it or baptize it and send it to preschool. I found a hamburger in there yesterday. I don't even like mayonnaise. Okay. Okay, we're gonna hit the philosophy one in a minute because honestly, my brain is goo today. It's kind of funny. I couldn't remember that I was riding with this guy, seriously, and I kept trying to remember his name. It was Dad. I couldn't go, Dad. You see why Jesus took me out of the gene pool, right? He was like, no children for you. Gotta whack those genes in. Okay, Henry VIII wrote a defense of the papacy before the split. Yeah, oh yeah. Henry VIII was a very devout Catholic in many ways. And the church gave him the title Defender of the Faith, or even, I believe, Lion of the Faith. Yeah. He was quite the theologian, is my understanding. He's dead now. I didn't even know he was sick. I love saying that. I taught my high school students, when I taught high school, and your kids can all do it, I always say, you know one thing about every saint. So if someone says, what do you know about Saint so-and-so? Just say this, because there's one thing you know. They're dead. You can't give the word saint if you ain't dead. Write that down. These are pearls. All right. Okay, how do you keep your faith when you pray and pray for healing of a person ill and they die despite all your prayers? Man, I've been there. Okay? As you can imagine, I think it's fair to say 4 or 5 times a week I pray with people who are sick and or dying. It's awful. And I've been there, like with my mom and with other, where you just, Jesus, please, right? First thing I'd recommend is, I was gonna make a joke. And I had to stop myself. Because I'm like, this is serious. And I was gonna make a joke. But I want you to know there's a joke in here that did not go out there. Okay? Joke here, not there. But if I could, anyway, the first thing to remember, okay, I'm gonna take a minute on this, all right? When I was a kid, I wanna walk you through how I got here, and I think I'm right, okay? When I was a kid, I went through this idea that if God didn't do what I asked, I didn't do it right, okay? It was this idea, and of course it came from hearing some of Scripture, right? Like people will tell you that Scripture where Jesus says, think it through, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I saw it and I banged on that door until my knuckles were red. And I didn't get what I wanted. But there's more to that passage. That's only some of his sentence. That the rest of it, Jesus says, because everyone who asks, everyone who seeks finds, everyone who knocks opens and receives the Holy Spirit. And Jesus' promise is not you get what you want. It's you get the strength to endure, or for what you and I call victory, okay? But here's the deal, you know, and then I remember flat out, I'm dead serious, when I was in high school, a youth minister, not ours, we were traveling somewhere, and this youth minister gave this talk about how if you pray and what you pray for doesn't happen, it's because you didn't have enough faith, which is a great thing to tell a 16-year-old, right? Why not just beat me with sticks? Because then, of course, it was like, well, then it's my fault that that bad thing happened because I didn't have enough faith. It took me a bit to figure this out. God's not a computer. I'm not in charge of this relationship. He is, right? Remember yesterday? Remember where we talked about this yesterday? God's in charge of this relationship. And over time, what I have come to some measure of peace about is this. When I call him, he is fully, totally, and completely present to me. Okay? And that has to be enough for me. He won't always do what I want. But what I've learned is what I want doesn't always work out the way I hope. And in the end, I ask myself, do I trust him? And this is going to sound funny to say of God. Do I trust his love? Do I trust his intention? And if so, I'm going to storm heaven for what I want and trust that I'll get what I need. And that's probably shallow comfort if your heart's in 50 pieces right now. And trust me, I get it. But my assumption, and I think I taught you all about this, who was that guy? Thornton Wilder wrote, do you remember he wrote My Town, which every high school ever has done a play of? That's the worst. Were you in drama high school? No. Any of you jerks? No. No. Every high school. But besides that, he wrote one about a bridge somewhere, and I'm not bright, okay? Try the espresso at DaEdoardo's. He strokes his beard thoughtfully. Anyway, he wrote a book, and in the end, this is what he wrote, and I really dig this, okay? He said that when you look at the back of a tapestry, it's a mess. It's a jumble of mismatched colors, and it doesn't look good at all. It looks like a nightmare. But when you flip it over and you see the image that a mess made, it's beautiful. And he said, in heaven, I assume God flips the tapestry. I kind of dig that. Okay. Hold on. Is there a right way to pray? I don't pray like, okay, give me a second. I'm not right. Hold on. I'm seeing, oh, that's the TV behind me. That's hilarious. Okay. I wish you could know what just went through my head. Like, I see this black thing behind me with 2 eyes. And I'm like, all right, world's ending. Give me an espresso. Right. That was if the world, huh? You should see it, like, if you're not, I'm not paying attention, right? And all of a sudden I look and I'm like, okay, Jesus is returning. You can have my stuff, because I assume all you guys are host, but I'm fine. Okay, is there a right way to pray? Ish. Okay. I don't pray like being quiet and folding my hands. I have a running conversation with God, the good, the bad. Help me understand, help me do. Thanks for helping. People tell me that isn't praying. They're wrong. Write that down. Okay. If your praying involves sacrificing a live animal to Jesus, yeah, you're doing it wrong. If your prayer is you talking to Jesus in whatever way you need to, you're doing it right. Okay? Now, there's public prayer, which is different, right? On public prayer, we actually try for uniformity. But in private prayer, you and the big guy, you talk. Make sure you listen, okay? And that's tough, right? Especially if you're like me. And again, if so, Jesus help you if you're like me. But we go quiet too. Right? So I do this sometimes, especially when I'm hurting. I'll get in my truck and I will literally clear off the passenger seat. I've told you about this. You do this. Yep. Nugent does this too. Just to get it in my head that he's with me. Okay? I don't deserve it. I don't make it. I'm not worthy of it. Whatever. But you don't die for someone you feel ambiguous about. So I assume he wants to be in my life. So I ask him to sit with me. And we talk, and we have coffee. Jesus goes 2 sugars, 1 cream. Who knew? Who knew?
He's from the East Coast.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. You know what? You don't pollute coffee.
Yes.
Right? You don't pollute coffee.
For sugar.
Yeah. Why not add, another set of wings to an angel?
Well, you could add Bailey's.
Bailey's is different.
Okay.
That's another thing that came directly from heaven down to earth.
Through Ireland.
Yeah. Through Ireland?
Through Ireland, yeah.
Okay. Did I answer that question?
Sure.
Oh, sweet. From Richard in Great Britain. How you doing, Richard? I was going to affect my awful English accent, but then I remembered I want peace between our countries. Although July 4th is coming up. Can I bring that up?
He has a quote there. You might have to try that. And then
Okay. He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man. Well, Richard, you can marry my daughter. All right? I award Richard 18 Jesus points. 18. Okay. What's your opinion on single people who have not found love but want desperately to be a parent? Adoption and or artificial insemination. Is that how you spell insemination? I don't think that's how you spell
no,
it.
it's wrong.
That's how Carrie's
I think
That's
so.
how Carrie spells it. Hold on. What?
You know, I could put awful things in here.
Carrie could type awful things in there. You know what, Richard? 20. We're going to 20. 20 Jesus points. I award you 20 Jesus points. All right.
I correct.
Okay, who have not found love. Okay, this is going to sound cheesy, but I don't care. I'm right, okay? You did find love. It's just not what you expected. And I mean this. You are loved by love itself. Okay? Love itself is in love with you and wants a relationship with you, a relationship of truth, right? And communication and dialogue. Love wants to be known by you. And this, I know, I've talked to, as you can imagine, I was at MSU, where Jesus went to school, right? I worked there for 12 years. and I've talked to a lot of young women and a lot of young men, and I know this seems like shallow comfort, but I hope you can see it's not, and that's not something I'm just saying to move on, okay? There is love available to you, and the more you are able to grasp that, the more you'll be in a position to receive it from others. I hope this helps. And I don't have an opinion about adoption. I know to some extent the church always says the default needs to be a mom and dad, okay? That a child has a right to a mom and a dad. And now my folks adopted and took in kids like it was a full-time job, okay? In fact, I guess for my mom it was. Yeah, that's why we had guns. Lots. Because there was one summer, we were just talking about this, where there were 14 kids in her house. And she called it, seriously, she called it the summer of laundry. Because and people were like, oh, I'll bet she did a lot of laundry. No, we did a lot of laundry. She was always like, y'all got arms, use those. She was awesome. There was one time, true story, high school. I was sitting next to this kid, Chops Hernandez. We sit down at lunch. He says, every day you pack a peanut butter and jelly, an apple, and what else? I can't remember. And he said, you should have your mom packs a peanut butter jelly, an apple, and so you should ask her to pack something else. True story. I went home. I said, Ma, will you pack my lunch tomorrow? And she said, no, but you'll pack everybody else's now. I had to make 10 lunches. Yeah. And she did the whole thing of checking my arms. Yeah, they work. That chick was awesome. Okay. What were we talking about? Well, that was it. Did I answer the question? I think I did. Potato chips. That's right, Kelly. That's right, Kelly. Did she ever make you make everyone lunch? No, she was too smart. Kelly was too smart to say something stupid like that. Although I did. Can I tell the story? I got Kelly. Kelly, can I tell the story about you getting kicked out of prayer? We're looking for this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. This is a true story, okay? So...
Susie's going to speak for Kelly.
Thank you. Kelly, your representative, Susie, has spoken on your account and approved this emotional... She said yes. Okay. So true story. Kelly Krupp-Spleer. See her? She's a goddess. We had to, after dinner, we had to all sit in a big circle and do family prayer time. Which, if you're a kid... that's death, right? There's ball to be played. There's things to do besides sitting and okay. So we had to do this prayer time, and part of that. Oh, Kelly, thanks you, Susie. Susie with a S-I-E.
Close enough.
Close enough, woman. All right. So true story. In all those years, and Mom raised some awful kids. We're just not good people at that point in our lives. We were teenagers, right? We knew everything. We had that going for us. Kelly has the distinction of being the only one kicked out. And what happened is this. It was my turn to read, and it was this passage, I could even tell you what it was, from Jeremiah, and it goes like this. You duped me, O Lord, and I allowed myself to be duped. It's Jeremiah yelling at God. You gave me a crappy job, right? I felt that should be read in a dramatic voice, right? So I did this voice that always made her giggle, right? I went, you duped me, O Lord, and I allowed myself to be duped. And of course, Kelly starts, right? She starts laughing and she can't quit. And Dad's like, Joe, knock it off, right? Read it again. I felt like he wanted me to try harder. Kelly could not quit laughing. And Dad's like, girl, one more time and you gotta leave. And she just stood up and said, I can't. And she left because she knew she wasn't going to be able to stop laughing. And thus, I got my sister kicked out of family prayer. Now, here's the best part. What happened to me? Nothing. And I don't know what the gap in the coverage was, because usually my folks were pretty saucy about, but I got away with that. And Kelly got kicked out of prayer. That's a true story. I can't believe, like, to this day, it's like, how did I not get in trouble? I don't remember getting in trouble. I might have. Who knows? That would have just been a day that ends in Y. Okay, so enough of you guys' silly stories. I'm trying to do serious things here. Okay, why do we have no saints from the Old Testament? For example, Saint Ezekiel, Saint Isaiah, Saint Jeremiah are saints only from the New Testament. Well, we only use the word saints for the people post-Jesus on our linear timeline. Okay? For those before, we would say patriarchs, unless they're a female, and then we call them matriarchs. Okay? And I can't remember why we don't say Saint Ezekiel, but he is a saint, but we would call him a patriarch. Are they still laughing about my story?
Kelly said they thought you were just getting into the reading.
Dramatic interpretation. Oh my gosh. My poor mom. Seriously, she didn't deserve any of this. Okay, can you help me understand? Oh wait, first, what happens to your guardian angel when you die? Are you familiar with the AARP? The Angelic Association of Retired Persons. What? I just did that! For those of you who don't get the joke, it's because you're too young, and that's a good thing.
Do they get Social Security too?
Yeah, they get social.
Okay.
Yeah, they get a check for $777 every 2 weeks.
Oh, every 2 weeks.
Sure, it's heaven, dude.
Man, I should have signed up for that.
And all their student loans were
Forgiven?
It's socialism. Totally kidding. Okay, so what our tradition teaches is that your guardian angel stays with you for all of time. Okay, so if you're in purg, they come and check on you. When you're in heaven, they're right next to you. They were made for you, which is really cool to think of. Did I see Uncle Lonnie?
Yeah,
Right there,
yeah.
I just typed it in.
Oh, Uncle Lonnie. What year? Oh, wow, good catch. That's my big bro Lonnie. Holy cow. You're right. St. Michael is, I guess, well, all the archangels. St. Gabriel. Well, they weren't born. That's the problem. They just are.
Right. They're not linear.
They're non-linear, but they were created.
Right.
So I don't know. All right, Uncle Lonnie, I award you 3 Jesus points. You're still in the hole, just so you know.
That's because you don't like him.
Right? He's my big bro. Okay. Wow, nice catch, Uncle Lonnie. Yeah, the archangels we do call saints, which is weird.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
I don't know. I got to find that out. Okay. Can you help me understand indulgences? No. Do you feel like... No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm going to try. Okay? But what you have to remember, and this is again one of those weird ones where what you were taught in history class, okay, 4, Lonnie. What you were taught in history class was half right, okay? Here's the key. People tell you, well, Luther left about the church over indulgences. Meh, kinda, sorta, somewhat, but make no mistake, he wrote in defense of indulgences. His problem was the church had corrupted their use, and he was 100% correct on that point, okay? What is an indulgence? An indulgence is an idea that I always use this image for, and I've used it with you before. Stick with me if you've heard it. If you haven't heard it, this is the first time I've ever said it to you. See that? That's logic. No? Okay. So again, back to my mom. We're going back to mom, okay? So when she would go grocery shopping, it was Thursday. Dad got paid on Thursday. That was grocery shopping, and we were a 2 to 3 cart family. But mom is a 2-armed human, so somebody had to go. And when you're the smallest and the youngest, you go because the others can beat you, all right? So I went and worked a cart with mom, and that chick could shop. Straight up, I'm not kidding. She had coupons for coupons. You know what I mean? I swear, she'd go out with 3 carts, and they would give her money. Here you go.
Smart.
Oh, woman was beast mode. So at the end, the demons who set up grocery stores put candy by the cash register in order to drive mothers insane. Right? That's the science, right? Look, your child has just been tortured by walking through ice cream he'll never get. Here's a candy bar. And so you start, Ma, can I have a candy bar? And no, right? No, that's the answer. 90% of the time, no. And with my ma, that was the end of the discussion. Like, I see kids like throw fits, and I think, Mom would have just killed me and made a new one. Anyway. So here was the key. Can I have a candy bar? No. Can I have a candy bar? No. 1 out of 10 times? Sure. Right? Why? I don't know. It's indulgent. Right? It's her indulgent love for her kids. Dead serious. Right? And that's the idea I want you to think of. What an indulgence is, it's something where we pause and recognize that God does ludicrous things for us. God wants you in heaven, remember this, more than you can want anything. And so he's always going to stack the deck in your favor. And that's the idea of an indulgence. Where we started mixing indulgences with cashola, right? Or Home Depot gift cards, which Pope Boniface V received. I made that up. I'm going to be honest. I totally made that up. When we started getting money involved in it is where it got really hinky. Okay? But there are still indulgences. The idea of, like, in the year 2000, Pope John Paul II, right? JP2 in 2000? Yeah. He had this idea that, you know, it's a, what did he call it? Does anyone remember? A year of Johnson, Smith, Jones, 7, 9. I can't remember. I want to say millennium, but that's so stupid. That's not what he called. Jubilee. What? Okay. Huh? Called a Jubilee year. So what was the deal? Any Catholic who did certain things, like you go to Mass, you go to confession, and you pray Creed, Glory be, Our Father, Hail Mary, a partridge in a pear tree, and he says, then you're granted an indulgence. And what was that? Kind of a wiping clean of the slate behind you. Okay? That was an indulgence. How much money was involved? None. So I hope that helps. Does that help? Whoever asked that, can you make sure? Okay, do you feel like it is the end times? I don't know. It's kind of weird right now, but it's always weird. To some extent, we just never had the ability to receive this much information, okay? And that's really a key factor. So people will say this is a very violent time in human history. Guys, straight up, this is the least violent time in human history by far. Okay, think about this. In World War I, 3% of the world's population died. Think about that, right? Nuge, seriously, what's 3% of 6 billion? Can you do that for me?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to give you a sense of things, okay? Why? Because I want you to hear what 3% of our population now would be. What if 3% of us died of war in a couple years? What was that war? 4 years? 3 years? 4 years. So, Nuge, do you mind checking that out?
Yeah,
3.
Right,
He's going to look up.
I got answers there.
Sure, I get you, brother. Okay? More people died in the Civil War than in Normandy.
1.8.
How many? So imagine we had a war that lasted 3 years and 1.8 million people died. Today, that would be what World War I was like. Okay? Whoops, I forgot to turn off my phone. Sorry. Oh, and it's another sister. Woohoo! I got a ton of them. Why am I saying this? Because here's the key. Humans have never had access to this much news and data before. And so to us, it looks like it's all collapsing because the evil 6,000 miles away, well, it's right here. I can just look at it, right? Oh, and it just lit up. Another message from another sister. Okay, true story.
But you understated the number. It's not 1.8 million. It's
180 million. Okay, so I get you, bro. So imagine a war starting today and ending in 3 years where 180 million people were killed in that war. That was World War I. Okay? That's how violent the world used to be. We are less violent than we've ever been. Less people live in poverty than have ever been in poverty in the world. It's an astounding time to be alive. Yeah, you look at how many lives are lost via abortion. Well, today, 2,900 babies will be aborted just in the U.S., right? Planned Parenthood alone carries out an abortion in the U.S. every 90 seconds, okay? Even with that, that's less. And it's astounding to us, I know. To give you a sense of things, I'm going on and on with weird stats, okay? But it's what I do. What weapon in humankind has killed more people than any other Anyone want to take a stab at this? This will blow you away, I think. The Roman gladius, right? The Roman short sword, I've got one, has killed more people in human history than guns, than bombs, than the nuclear bomb, than grenades, than anything. The Romans just butchered. That's how you won wars. You killed people so that they weren't able to make more people, and so that your tribe could make more. Why am I going through all this? Because we're in the least violent time in human history, but we have the most access to what's going on, and so it feels awful. And make no mistake, it is. It's awful. But we want to be careful to remember our context. Okay, remember our context. So with that, do I think it's in the end times? I don't know. I try to, and I'm not exaggerating, I do try to live every day like it is. You gotta remember, one day you will wake up for the last time, and you have no control over when that will be, right? No control. I think 5,000 people woke up today in the US for the last time. They'll die before the day's done. And for each of us, we want to be cognizant of that. In Roman Catholicism, we say, memento mori, remember your death. Not to depress you, but to invigorate you, to live the life God gave you. Okay? So just live every day like Jesus is returning today, and one day you'll be right, and you'll get a toaster oven signed by the Saint Gabriel, the Archangel. That joke petered out, like right in the middle. You know what I mean? It was like joke. How can you support this program when you become full-time operations again? Is this for me? I don't get it.
How can you continue to do this?
Oh, get out. Bless you. Oh, my gosh. I don't know. We're working on a plan. We're going to have a plan. It's going to be lovely, I swear. I don't know. We're going to try. We're not going to try. We're going to do. There is no try. There is only do, to quote Saint Yoda of Endor. Not Endor. I don't know. Wasn't Endor the planet with the little fuzzy people? Yeah. Sweet. All right. I just horrified you, didn't I? Remember, I'm old and fat. All right. What was the one Yoda was on? It was all jungly. And
I think I don't know.
Okay. Just say Montrose.
Montrose.
Montrose. Yoda of Montrose. Yeah. We can go with that. Okay. No, we're going to try. We're looking at how we're going to do this when the quarantine lifts, okay? And I don't know if I should get into it. We're looking at, for sure, 2 days. Dagobah.
Yeah.
Somebody got it. Benjamin Greathouse. Okay, Benjamin Greathouse. Way to go, Benjamin. I award you 10 Jesus points. Ryan, you're too late, bro. I see you sliding in there for the points. All right, little brother. Okay. What were we talking about? Do you remember? Oh, so, yeah, we're trying to figure it out. There's 3 things that I'm trying to figure out for the El Futuro. That's Spanish for the futuro. Call me butter, because I'm on a roll. All right. So, talk to the boss. The fireside chats, and quarantine catechesis. Now, obviously, we've got to change the name of quarantine catechesis when the time comes, right? And I'm thinking something like Ryan tried to slide in and get Jesus points. And that's in honor of Ryan, who's like a little brother to me. I'm serious, I love him. But he tried to slide in and get Jesus points. So we could name the show that. What was the second thing? Oh, the fireside chat. We got to change the name of that, I guess. I'm looking at y'all.
I was going to say you didn't like the meeting.
No, you guys were right. I have to surrender to the fact that I'm not bright. And again, remember, I'm the guy who can't predict trends. Remember my start? I have to tell you guys this. Are you ready? This is a true story. I'm sorry y'all got here twice, right? So when my nephew was at that school in Ann Arbor, called me up and was like, Uncle Joe, let's go. Yeah, I'm sorry. Jesus. It is. But I prefer MSU, where Jesus went to school. That's all. Right? Jesus would have got kicked out of U of M. He is not politically correct. All right. He would have said something awful, and they would have been like, I'm sorry, you have to go now. That's every campus, I think. Yeah, sweet, fancy Moses. So, what were we talking about?
Starbucks.
Oh, yeah. So he says, let's go out and buy. This was years ago, years and years ago. So I says, hey, you're a college kid. It's on me. Let's get after it. And he says, let's go to a coffee house. I'm like, a what? This is the 90s, okay? He says, a coffee house. I'm like, yeah, I don't get it. And that's when I found out there were these new things popping up where the whole reason a building exists is to sell you coffee at a huge markup, right? Here's a cup of coffee. Please give us $9,000, right? We also call that tuition. And I'm sitting there in this place. I'm like, nobody's going to pay $4 for a cup of coffee. I can go bang out some Folgers at home. And a few years later, it turns out this thing called Starbucks was kind of a big deal. So you can't have me saying what's going to work and not work. Because I'm always going to be like, no, that won't work. And I'm going to be wrong. Because in case you don't know, Starbucks like kind of did okay. Heck, I drank some this morning. I just thought of this. I got a triple espresso thinger. And I paid way too much for it. And I stayed in line for it. Like I said, please let me sit in line for an hour to pay too much for coffee. What is this? Why am I saying that? Because when I said, no, we should keep the name Fireside Chat, the entire team went, yeah, you're wrong. We love you. You're wrong. So I surrender. I concede. So we'll figure it out, guys.
The big issue is you never had a fire that year beside.
I never did have a fire. Although, I don't know if you saw, my gun safe was in the background on a few of them. And I'm like, that's fire-ish.
Yeah.
There's firearms in there.
Yeah.
Why do we call them firearms?
I don't know, but
I think we should call them
because the
boomsticks.
gunpowder lens.
Yeah.
The original musket.
But it's not your arm. If your arm is on fire, you're shooting the gun wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should call them boomsticks. It sounds very manly.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, do you think Father Abraham looks down from heaven? Yes. Isn't that funny? Okay, I'll finish. Because that part, yes. You don't even have to finish it. We need baseball back. I know who said that. Dang it, I can't see. Bailey, I know I miss baseball so bad. Do you think Father Abraham looks down from heaven and thinks, if only I didn't sleep with the maid? Well, you know that wasn't his idea. Do you know that story? Right? God promised Abraham a ton of kids. And when he and his wife were 75, he was like, anytime now, Lord. Seriously. So his wife, true story, tells him to sleep with Hagar, what do you call her? What did you call her? Whatever she was. The maidservant. And why? Truly, to show that it was his problem, not hers. You got me? Well, then Hagar has a kid. And then Sarah yells at Abraham, you embarrassed me. This is a true story. Look it up. I love Sarah in the Old Testament. I do. The chick was awesome. When your name means princess, you know you're trouble.
She might be wrong.
Okay. My sister keeps trying to take away my Jesus points. She's probably jealous that I have earned more than her. Will you stop her? Yes. Stop. Don't be jealous. Send me cookies and you too will earn Jesus points. Who was that? That's pretty fun. Okay. Was that Kelly?
Not your Kevin.
Okay. How can I explain to my kids why there is so much suffering in the world for some and not for others? Why do some people receive healing and others not? Yikes. We suffer because the world's broken and because we are broken. And it's awful. And why do some people suffer more? I don't know. Stick with me. The fact that we consider suffering an awful thing is actually a part of our brokenness. Because we get it with our body. Okay? We get it. Namely, you know, unless you push your body, you will never get stronger. Right? I used this image before. If you just put the bar on the weight bench and you do that every day, you will feel no pain. None. Woohoo! But you will never get stronger. This is suffering. Suffering is our soul lifting weights. Okay. We gain fortitude We grow in humility and compassion. I don't like to suffer, but I'm trying really hard to stop seeing it as my enemy. And that's what, when people say, why do we suffer? I don't know what we expect. What do we think would be different? What would a life with no suffering look like? We would have no joy. I don't know if this makes sense.
Yes.
I focus less on why and I try to focus on how. So why do I suffer? Because I'm a train wreck and I live in a train wreck world. I'm broken and so is everybody around me. Of course I'm going to suffer. And if I don't suffer, I'll never know what joy is. So instead of saying why, I want to figure out how. My dad, true story, okay, in 2012 was in a car accident and my mom got hurt and he got hurt and it was pretty bad. And when I got to the hospital, it was Ash Wednesday. When I got to the hospital, one of the sisters came to me and said, Dad won't let them look at him, right? And so go talk to him. So I go talk to Dad and I said, Pa, the doctors need to look you, not till they look at Mom, right? He wouldn't let them work on him till they finished with Mom, okay? And in the end, we convinced him, okay? And at that point, he'd been standing or sitting in the waiting room for 3 hours. When he went in, his back was broke, right? 3 places. His back was broken. And literally, the doctor looked at me and my brother Paul and went, how is he standing here? And I'm like, the man doesn't know how to complain. And the doctor told that true story. He said, it looks like you broke your back in the past and that it healed badly. And he said, quote, Gordon Krupp, in '86, it hurt for a bit. Where does that come from? Well, the stories of him eating grass when he was a kid and dandelions. The story of them living in real poverty. It created in him a strength. And that strength didn't just translate into the kind of crap we call strength now. His strength showed in compassion and in kindness. We're a spoiled society, so any suffering and we freak out and we pretend we can end suffering with politics, God help us, right? And we become really effective puppets of people who don't care if we live or die, right? We run around, oh, we can end suffering. Good luck. The only way you can end suffering is to kill everybody. I just said that. Yeah, let's not go with that plan. Right? So when it comes to suffering, try to focus less on why and try to focus more on how. And how? With courage, with dignity. You are a child of God. His breath is in your lungs. You can endure anything and smile and stand up and keep going. I'm serious. And it'll make you kinder. It'll make you more compassionate. World needs this. We need suffering. I know that's nuts, but I'll shut up. Okay. Whew. Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, I know.
All right. I'm going to put on my seatbelt for this one. I don't know who you are, but you're awesome. Okay. My sister-in-law and best friend were diagnosed with cancer at the same time I was. They died and I did not. I pray every day I am worthy of it. I pray every day I'm worthy of the day. And that's what you're supposed to do. Right? Thank you, whoever you are. I hope we all heard that.
Nora.
Nora? Nora, you're a goddess. Oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock. What the hey?
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
That's fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Or did I? Okay.
Well, that's one on that page you do have to read.
If you could recommend only one book besides the Bible and the Catechism, what would it be? Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Mere Christianity, M-E-R-E, Christianity by C.S. Lewis. That book is freak show good. And then last question, how do I approach my brother, who happens to be a priest, about the need to shave his beard? Okay, Kelly, I see you, woman. I bet you that was Kelly.
I bet
Yeah.
you got to keep looking, because that may not be because
No.
they identify the person a little more.
What's that?
No, keep reading.
Okay, I don't want to hurt his feeling. What would you suggest? By the way, he's wearing a red shirt today. Did you see? This is what I was raised with. This is why I'm the luckiest man in the world. Kelly, Edie, Heidi, Lori. All right. Seriously, this will help, Kelly. Or Anonymous. Send him cookies. Send him cash. Send him ammo. These are things that will help him.
Well, if they want it shaved, they can go to the Holy Family website.
If you want this beard shaved,
donate, and then pick shave the beard or save the beard.
Shave the beard or save the beard. In fact, you know, I'm going to just tick you all off. I'm going to get perm. Can you get a perm and a beard? I remember when I was a kid, right? Again, 5 women in the house, and I love those chicks. But once in a while, the whole house would smell like grim death. And it was because they all got perms. Did you ever go through a perm phase? May I ask? Is that appropriate? Yeah.
I think once or twice.
Yeah, and it smells like God left the room. Seriously. Like even the Lord was like, look, I died. I was tortured to death, and I can't stand this. Perms. Should I get the... Do they still do perms? My niece did braid it. She put 2 little braids right here, one here and one here. And I looked, I needed a battle axe. And then I could have pillaged. I could have. Like if I would have walked in your yard, you would have been like, fat, ugly man with a braided beard and an axe. We need to flee.
If you had a helmet with horns on it, I would flee.
Do you know the Viking horn helmet thing? Did you know that? That's a myth.
Yeah.
They came, okay, anyway, we could go into it. So I promise I will stop talking now, and we will resume on Tuesday. Ask me what we're going to cover. Go ahead.
What are we going to cover on Tuesday?
I have no idea. I wish you wouldn't ask that. So we'll figure it out, or do we know? Nope, we don't know, but we got a lot of good topics lined up, and I'm so grateful that you guys came in today. Wow, we almost, that's a lot of humans. Sweet Lord. All right, thank you. Good Lord. And please like these and share these. Every like and share merits you 10 Jesus points, redeemable toward your salvation. Go back to the top. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's right. Hey guys, this place right here, affectionately called Valhalla, because if I die, I pray it looks and tastes like this. Okay? It's open again on Monday, and I want to run through real quick. Again, there's no promotional consideration. I just love this place. Okay? So please, DaEdoardo's north of Grand Blanc. There's DaEdoardo's also in Grossi Pointy. There's La Lanterna in Detroit, Cafe Nini. That is a little tragic. I'm gonna be candid.
Which one?
Nini. I don't know.
It's a family name.
Nini. What is it?
Name.
Nene? I know Nene. I grew up with a Nene.
Nini.
Yeah. Okay. But she was not Italian. All right.
Our Nini is Italian.
Nini is Italian. What were we doing? Also in Grossi Pointy. Okay, and you can go there. Catholic business, family owned. Guys, this awesome food. You can spoil someone you love so very much. Do it, okay? Jesus wants you to. I just checked. So stop by. They're open back up on Monday. You can come in. If you don't want to come in, you can still do takeout?
Oh, yeah.
Still going to do takeout.
Sure.
Okay, so check it out, and thank you guys so much for hosting us. My gosh, yeah. And I'm also going to do an exorcism here right after, so don't worry about any screaming or anything that you'll hear. I will now do a closing prayer, give y'all blessing, and then I will see your beautiful faces on Tuesday, unless you choose to join us for Mass on the Church of the Holy Family Facebook page on Sunday at 10. Woo! I just said that in one breath. It would have killed a mortal. Let's pray. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, Lord, you give us brains to know, and we're so grateful for that. We're grateful for our curiosity and for our hunger to understand. We ask that you bless us now. Bless everyone we love. Keep them safe. We ask that you give us the grace to give you the people and situations we're worried about and to trust you, because you always work for our good in the salvation of the world. Help us to endure suffering bravely and to love you with all we are. We do love you and we trust you. Amen. And may Almighty God bless y'all. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Take care. See y'all Tuesday.